remarks. And that is going to do it for our announcement. So we can get right into our show today, which is such a great one. We're so glad to welcome back Architect Michael Barron-Wike. And he has done residential architecture here for the past 35 years along the Northern California coastline and inland, with award-winning designs for new and remodeled homes. He has a portfolio of sustainable projects with start to finish services that crafts innovative buildings with certified passive solar green designs that fit into the landscape, with many approved California Coastal Commission zone projects. Welcome back to the show today, Michael. Good to have you once again on KGUA.
It's really great to see you again. I'm excited about talking to you.
Me too. I saw your update on LinkedIn, and that's what started this whole conversation going about you coming back on the show.
We all have to do our marketing, right?
Right, we do. And we love to support our local people and businesses and communities. That's what we do here with this morning show. And so we're really looking forward to hearing what your update is on your local projects. You've got so much to share with us. I'll let you get underway with your latest update and what you'd like to get started with.
Sure. Well, if you recall, we talked about two of my more recent projects that were off the Sea Ranch, and this area has kind of those two dominant elements. If you're going to do a home in the Mendocino County area or in Sonoma, because we're right on the border between the two counties, you've got either Sea Ranch or you've got Coastal Commission. So I've got to deal with both of them, and this time
neither is easy.
No, and this time we're going to talk about a couple of Sea Ranch houses, and the reason that I think that they're worth people knowing about is that it's an example of that expression "pay it forward" that was so popular a few years back, and people mention it now and then about what goes around comes around. And if ideally you can do so in your life, it's a blessing. And so in this particular situation, I'm featuring two projects from the Sea Ranch. One I did and completed in 2011 for Larry Marks on Black Point Reach, and it was complete and total down to the plywood redo of the very first house to ever have been built on the Sea Ranch. And it had the very first building permit for a residence. The condominiums had come before that had been designed by by Turnbull and his associates, MLTW at the time. So this house was designed by one of my professors at Cal. All these other guys were teaching at Cal at the same time. And Esherick was asked by Lawrence Halprin and Al Boki to design 6 what they called demonstration houses that would be on the ocean bluffs adjacent to Black Point, which is this beautiful promontory that sticks out into the ocean at the south end of the Sea Ranch. And these homes would be shown to people that wanted to buy a lot on this brand new development, 10 miles long and a mile wide, along the Northern California coast, that would share common spaces with everyone and clustered the homes into the existing cypress hedgerows. The hedgerows had originally been installed by the original ranchers to give some windbreak to their sheep and to using their land, more environmentally over the whole year with the way they grew up and formed shelters for the animals. So anyway, Esherick was designing and building this very first house when I was a student at Cal. And I didn't know about it. I didn't even know what Sea Ranch was, except over the elevator were drawings done in black and white with a brush done by Larry Halprin. And it said the Sea Ranch. And I would see it every morning when I got to the design building and going up the elevator, because it was right over the elevator for all of us to see. So lo and behold, here I am now 50 some years later, having lived here most of my adult life, practicing not only what they taught me, but taking it to another level with my sustainable and more durable, environmentally integrated homes today. So here I am. Larry calls me in about 2010 when the recession was kind of at its peak, and he said, or just before it, I think 2008, and he said, Michael, I've heard about you. I want you to do my project. And I said, okay, Larry, what is it? And he said, well, you've got to come see it, but it's one of Escherich's first homes at the Sea Ranch. And I got all excited. And I said, great. So I went down there, and here it was, just kind of in shambles. It hadn't been touched since it was built. And I said, what do you want to do? He said, I want to gut it. I want to take the whole thing down, but I want it to have the feeling and the integrity of the best parts of the house. And then we can do, what we need to make it a full-time living residence. And I said, great. I said, that's perfect. I can't think of a better opportunity to pay it forward for Joe Escherich, who was not only a great architect, but also a really great person. And when I was at Cal, there were a lot of very egocentric individuals who were striving to become architects and who were architects. And Joe was not one of those. He was extremely humble. He was very creative. He gave me some very valuable critiques on my work. I designed a school project that he evaluated during a jury, and he was just great. So here I am, with this project, and I told Larry, absolutely, let's do it. So by 2011,
and I'm just sharing screen real quick, the photo of Escherich, so that
there's Joe.
all right, so our YouTube audience can see it, and anybody that wants to later go on to YouTube, you can see this, or you can look him up as well. But I'm going to stop share now, and I do have other photos lined up to share with the audience, but I'll let you continue here now, Michael.
Great. So anyway, I worked with Larry and with his contractor, who was someone who'd worked with Larry down in Portola Valley. And we opened the house up. We took all of the materials that had been, exhausted on the exterior, and reskinned it with more insulation and Marvin windows, and in the process, we could open up the inside. The rooms had been divided up, and so they weren't really integrated except between the dining room and the living room. And the kitchen and the dining room have this incredible view to Black Point. But if you see on the original, some of the photos I showed you, that shows a sequence, a composite of the exterior on that side of the building. The first shot is in 1965. The next one is in 1980, where someone added some windows to help the view. And then in 2011, it shows the way the building was changed to completely open it up to this incredible vista of the ocean and Black Point.
Oh, are these the Hubble photos that I have open here?
No,
these are different.
no. Yeah, actually, I guess you didn't get that one. Let me pick this one up here.
Yeah, you can share screen too.
So. Okay. All right, here it is. So if you see it now.
Well, you need to share screen first.
Oh, where is that?
At the bottom of your screen on Zoom, you'll see share screen.
Okay, let me.
And then you click on that.
Let's see.
And then as soon as you see share screen, you just click share in the lower right.
Let's see, I see. Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay. So here it is. You see that?
It's starting to share now. Yes, we see it.
Okay. So if you see in 1965, this was what Esherick did for this west side of the building.
Wow. Wow, what a difference.
Yeah. And then someone else, and I don't know if it was him or someone else, put in this sort of hodgepodge of 4 windows to give you what I think broken up views of Black Point without really paying, I think, homage to this incredible structure. So I basically did a 2-story bay that popped out from the house, and picture windows in both levels. The upper level is the master bedroom, the lower level is the kitchen, dining room. And so now you can really see what it is that this environment brings you when you're in the house, for probably the most dominant, feature inside the building.
Exactly. Exactly.
And
You see with that pop out, you can see in different directions too.
yeah, and up the coast, of course, is spectacular too. But in the process of doing this, the outside area that Joe talks about, and let's see, he's got a.
And for our radio audiences out there, this is just a large, unusually shaped structure, 2 levels that they created this pop out section that has levels of windows on both downstairs and upstairs with around one corner is one smaller rectangular window and then the big bay window looking out the front on both levels.
Now, here's something too that's interesting. Can you see that?
I don't see anything different than what you started showing.
Okay. It says you are screen sharing.
Yes. Do you?
Oh, so
I
let
see.
me.
I see the same image, 1965 to 2008, and then the
Okay.
revision that you did, and then so maybe click off on that image to show the other one.
See. Okay. All right. Off on that one, and then I'll show.
Okay, now I see you full screen again.
Okay. So let's go to screen share, and then we'll go to this, and we'll go to this. Can you see that?
It's starting up. Now I see the 25 most important houses in America under houses.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is where I knew there was a heads up, because this house, along with the other 5, were chosen by Fine Home Building for their 25th anniversary as one of the most important houses in America.
Oh, and that looks like a Frank Lloyd Wright design.
Yeah, and obviously Falling Waters was one of those homes.
Yes.
So for me, I'm treading on iconic, territory to be touching or dealing with this home. But I felt qualified to do it for a couple of reasons. One is that I'd been to Cal, and Esherick had weaned me on the design process that he was using, for all of his work. And then the other is that I've been here now. You said 35 years. I've actually been here over 52 years.
Oh,
living here on the coast. I've been practicing actively.
52.
Yeah, for 35.
One of the websites you shared with me then needs to be updated.
Well, that date is correct as far as when I began my practice.
Oh, okay.
So I was up here for a few years, but not with my own practice.
Oh, gotcha.
That's still valid. But so anyway, so in this great article, which let's see if I can find it here.
As soon as you click on it, it should enlarge because we're just seeing small images of the others.
Can you see this?
I'm not sure why it's not popping up, but
Maybe it's keeping the other one.
Mm.
Yeah, it's keeping the other one. Yeah,
But you shouldn't have to stop screen share. It's usually whatever you're sharing on your desktop is what will show up once you're screen sharing.
yeah, it's not going to next, and so that's the
Hmm.
problem.
Oh, I
Here's what.
see you. Oh, there it is. It now is doing it on the right-hand side. In partnership with nature comes up.
Yeah. So I'll read this to you. It was in that issue that was in Fine Home Building. And I thought it was interesting to read to you. In partnership with nature, architect Joseph Esherick wasn't interested in creating a popular style of house at the Sea Ranch north of San Francisco. He wanted a symbiotic relationship between the house, the site, and the elements. By sinking these, it says seven, but they're actually six houses into the ground so that the meadow grasses come up to the windows. He kept the houses low enough to minimize their impact on the coastal views. Matching the roof pitches to the angle of the windswept cypress trees was more than a cue from the landscape. Tests determined that these slopes most effectively deflected the relentless wind, creating a peaceful eddy for a sunny patio. The look caught on, resulting in rows of shingle-clad sheds on ruler-straight streets all around the country.
I really like that phrase, the symbiotic relationship between the house, the site, and the elements.
Well, you can see it here. Can you see that one?
Yeah, I just wish we could make it larger for the YouTube
I
audience.
will. I will.
Not sure why it's not, but um,
Okay. Let's
it's
do it again.
okay.
Let's do it again.
All right.
There. Oops. It keeps
No,
coming in. This is there it is.
well, we can see it on the right-hand side at least.
Oh,
So for some reason, maybe do you have a Macintosh? That could be one of the
is that
reasons.
better?
It's still the same, the small square on the right. But
Okay.
that's okay. Go ahead and describe what we're seeing in that image
Okay.
for both radio and YouTube.
Is that, oops.
It's okay. Don't worry about it. Just go ahead and describe what it is we're seeing there in that image.
Okay. So in this image, it shows the couple of the homes in the complex and how they're tucked down into the landscape and how the roof lines pitch with the slopes of
Yes,
the cypress trees.
you
The
can
house
see
on the
that.
left was actually Esherick's personal residence for years. So I'm guessing as part of his commission for all six homes to save some money, Boki and Halprin worked a deal that he could keep one of the homes and design the rest. I'm just guessing. But these are not the house that I did, but these two were part of that complex that were built after the one that I did.
Aha. So
Let's go back to that, closing on that, closing on that. Now here, can you see this one?
that one's actually a lot clearer, easier to see. And of course, being in color helps.
Well, look at beyond the homes. That's Highway 1.
Amazing. There's nothing there.
That's where there was nothing at the Sea Ranch other than the streets were done and the markers were in place. And these were the only houses that existed on the entire 10 miles.
So these first houses were accessible by road.
Yeah, that you drive down Black Point and there's the cul-de-sac at the end. And here these houses were looking out at the ocean. So everyone went to the lodge. They stayed at the lodge in the condos. And then they came down here with a realtor who had his office. You know where the Sea Ranch logo is, where you come into the restaurant?
Yes.
Out on Highway 1?
Right.
That building was the original real estate office for the Sea Ranch.
Well, that's something I did not know. All right.
that little
thing.
That little shack. So anyway, they brought them here, and you can see the middle house here with the brick chimney is the one that I redid for Larry, and you can see the windows missing. and the other houses, of course, are now, everything now is surrounded by cypress trees. So that one is one.
Now,
Then
the reason I had asked you about if it was accessible by road, because the story that we hear often told around here, because I have a horse at the stables, is that in the original beginning days, some of the properties were shown by horseback. So, because they were unaccessible by roads in general.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. And Belgian Race did the site development, and they may have not have finished doing everything when this was being shown. Because imagine putting in roads for, in fact, even the sewer district area to the north third or whatever of the Sea Ranch wasn't even developed yet.
And if you're just tuning in, I just want to let the audience know that you're listening to the voice of Michael Barron-Wike, architect, who's talking to us about some of the infamous or famous Sea Ranch homes that he has had an opportunity to help redesign. And I'm just enjoying getting this walk down memory lane, Michael, and seeing some of these images, which, by the way, you can watch on YouTube. We are live right now, but the show will remain on KGUA's YouTube channel. And you can listen to us around the world, streaming everywhere at kgua.org. Just click listen live at the top of the page. I'm Leigh Anne Lindsey. And Michael, tell us what we're looking at right now.
Well, this one is the shot of the original completed house on the west side. And if you look to the right, in the sliding glass door, you see a person with a white shirt on.
Oh, yes.
That is Esherick.
Oh,
so that picture's posted in Larry Marx's house, and he had found it at Bancroft Library at UC Berkeley in their archives.
How long was the Sea Ranch architecture taught at UC Berkeley, and is it still taught? Do you know?
Well, it wasn't taught when I was there, which is the ironic part of it, because Esherick was designing these. And so what we were shown were landscape overviews of the hedgerows and the buildings and the wind patterns by Halprin. So he was the landscape architect and on the faculty at Cal, and he was the one that was chosen to design the entire concept for the Dole Pineapple Corporation or affiliate, Castle and Cook. And Al Boki and he began the process of finding a land like this. Imagine finding 10 square miles of California coastline in today's world. And they found it, and they started the concept, and Moore, Linton, Turnbull, and Whitaker were all teaching at Cal, and they were involved in designing the condominiums, but they had not featured any of those buildings on display that I can recall in the main hall of Worcester. And mind you, when you're an undergrad student in architecture at Cal, you got, excuse me, but head down, butt up. You are just working your fanny off, just trying to survive. So I may have missed some of the pointers of the Sea Ranch coming, but I wandered up here randomly one weekend, just doing a coast drive with a friend, and we drove further than I'd ever driven, and we stumbled upon the icon that's out, on the logo, the Sea Ranch logo, and I said, "Oh, this is where Sea Ranch is."
Oh, that's how you found it.
Yeah, and that's how I found it physically, and so here I still am. But I didn't come up here specifically to do Sea Ranch. I came up here for other reasons, and then evolved into doing more of it as I worked for three or four different designers and architects here in the area.
And I just wanted to point out just real quick, Diane Boki used to be a pilot back then, and she would fly all up and down the coast. She had told Peggy once when she was interviewing with her, and she had been in the South Pacific, the movie,
Ah,
Yeah. So that was Diane. And
yeah.
so what are we looking at now that you just pulled up? The coastal view here.
Yeah, this shows the actual complex of the houses. And I've marked where the Marks residence is in that complex, if you can see that.
Yes, I can.
And then the little house all the way to the left with the lighter shingled roof that's single story and bermed, that's Esherick's personal residence when he was here for many years.
Such a small cluster of homes, you know, with all
Yeah,
that vacant space around it.
yeah, everything around this was completely undeveloped. These were the first homes.
And now
So,
it is really lovely that they've done the cluster type approach because it does leave that open space in between that we can
yeah,
enjoy walking, riding horses, whatever, and still enjoy the coastline when so many other places are just built house to house to house along the
yeah.
coastline. Not
Well,
here.
and I've had students from and architects from all over the world come here, and I would run into them in different locations, and I would talk to them about the Sea Ranch and my my influence, and they said they specifically came here because there's no place else in the world where this much land has been left open to be used by everyone that owns a home, uh, you know, uh, in a way that is planning that in today's world would just never happen.
Designed by intent.
Yeah. So let me show you some of the after effects.
Okay.
Uh, Here's a nice daylight shot of the completed project. And one of the things that Halprin mentioned in his quote that I used on this one is that he'd done just a little deck off of those sliding doors off to the leeward side of the building. So I put some benches in there. I expanded the deck all the way back to the back fence. I built it around a hot tub and against the cypress row, and then put flagstone pavers down onto the ground, so that now that wind protected side that he referred to in his design can literally be used, you know, all the time when the weather permits on that side. And that's, as you can see, the south facing side, so it gets even more solar exposure. In today's world, these wind-swept roof lines would be influenced by solar gain, and so you would have to argue between fitting into the cypress trees with the northwest wind and having roof lines that would pitch off to the south to allow you to get solar photovoltaic cells to pay for the electricity and the power that you're using for this house. So if I were designing this from scratch today, I would be probably putting a roof off of this porched area and have solar panels on them in this design.
And describe this design a bit more for the radio listeners so they can understand a bit more of what our YouTube viewers are seeing.
Okay, well, this is showing a view of the west side of the house, kind of southwest. And as you look at it, wrapping around that west and around the south side is a deck with a screened bench set of benches that are built in with the same cedar wood that was used in the house inside the building, which you'll see we preserved. And then the deck has been completely redone and extended off to a hot tub off the right behind some chairs that sit on a flagstone patio. So this way, you can not only benefit from the views on one side when it's not windy, but when it is windy, which is very prevalent in the summertime, you can get behind the building, if you will, and be sheltered on that south side.
And describe the two-level story home a bit more because it's very angular.
Yeah, it's a simple shed roof that pitches all the way down towards the north from what's called an ingle nook, and I'll show you that on the inside in a minute. But that roof pitches all the way up in one slope up towards the south end, the opposite side of the building, to create the opportunity to do two stories And the bedrooms, or at least two of the bedrooms, are upstairs. It used to be just one with a storage area, but I turned the other storage area into another bedroom. And then the master bath, walk-in closet, and master bedroom and window seat in the master bedroom are all upstairs. So that from the master bedroom, you can see even more spectacular views of Black Point and the Pacific Ocean.
All right, sounds good. And what other images do you have to share?
Okay, so inside the building, I'll go to the Inglenook first.
Beautiful.
This room is a spectacular room. The Inglenook term came from a Scandinavian concept, which was the area that was used around the home for the fire. It was the place where everyone would gather, both for cooking, for social time, and just to keep warm. And so it was a place that was very few windows. In this case, we made the exception, but the fire was the principal focus of the room. So when I found this room, my mouth dropped open and I just went, oh my God, he's captured this up coast view. He's got this old brick fireplace, which is interesting, but it's all cracked and failing. The interior, in fact, let me show you a picture of that.
And there are built-in
window seats. Yeah.
Window
Here is the original.
Oh, the original. Wow.
So you can see it's very busy. It's kind of cluttered.
Mm-hmm.
It has the similar, roof pitch and materials. You can see the edge of the brick fireplace, but it doesn't lure you in. It's adequate. Right. It's adequate. But if you see now, back to what I did, let's see, where is it? Here it is.
Yeah, with that.
Now it's opened up. There's no clutter for you to get to where you want to be, which is to sit down and look at this incredible view and fireplace. And these are all new Marvin windows, so I maximized their connection and kept the wood feeling. All of this cedar is taken down from, this is the original cedar that was put up in 1965. Wow. Every board was painstakingly taken down, run through a planer, pickled with a very light whitewash from Minwax. I put in LED lighting to accent all of this at night. And all of the floors are the original pecan floors that we covered and resurfaced and then repaired. This hearth is new. The fireplace is brand new insert from Extraordinaire, and with the steel plate wraparound. And then all of this copper on this wall was pounded and textured by the contractor. He took a sheet of copper, several sheets, and textured the entire thing and then washed it with acid and then wiped it down so it would have these highlights. So, and then he used copper nails to attach it to the wall that were exposed. So, and the fireplace obviously still uses wood.
It really ties in that ceiling with that pecan floor too.
Yeah, the whole thing is just, when you come in, I'm telling you, this place is your sanctuary. Huh. So this again is to honor Esherick, but just take the space and just wow it. So you want to be there. You want, this material is a suede. It's a turquoise suede that echoes the color of the ocean. And so when you lie down on it, you just fall asleep. It's so comfortable.
That was the first thing I noticed, how it just complemented the view of the ocean. The color of the couch.
Yeah, I mean, look between the two.
Yeah.
And so then there's the little shelf.
Now, when was this that you were working on this?
Well, this was completed in 2011.
Okay.
And this is the one that I got an AIA Design Award for from my local Redwood Empire chapter, from my peers, for what I had done to this home. And then it was published subsequently in a couple of other places, in the Santa Rosa Press Democrat, and then also in a magazine that I have linked to on my website.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, let's tell people a bit about where they can see your work, Michael. You've got it under MBW for Michael Barron-Wike, architect.com. You have it on House, right? And where else?
Yes, and on LinkedIn.
And on LinkedIn, right?
Yeah,
So,
and on Google.
right, you can always Google it and find the information. But you've mentioned where exactly on Google?
Well, I have a Google business page. So
Oh, a
you can
Google
type, you
business
can,
page.
yeah, so
Gotcha.
you can type in Michael Barron-Wike Architect, AIA, and it'll come up and it'll show you the list of places. Now, the best place right now to see the most comprehensive collection of this job and all my other ones is on House right now, because I'm still upgrading and refining my web page and struggling with it with the web designers. But in the process, I would call it still under construction.
Can I take
But
a moment to actually share that with our audience? Because I want to show them what the house website on YouTube looks like. And
okay.
there you go. And this was right next to your own website, but this one,
Yes, that's House.
this is
Yeah,
house, and it has the Doss residence, it has the Marks residence,
that's the one we're seeing now.
the Esherick Hedgerow house, right?
Yeah,
And
yes,
then you've got the Schwager residence down there in
right.
Anchor Bay.
That was a preliminary design that I loved, but it never got through because of wetlands in the coastal commission evaluation. But there is a house there, but it's not that one.
Right, right. And
But to the
then,
left is the fallow residence that you've seen.
oh, I
Uh,
love that fallow residence,
you
that
can see it out
Nautilus.
on the you can see it out on the bluff there.
Yeah. And then you've got the cruiser residence.
Yeah, the Kreutzer residence,
Kreutzer.
that's up on Pilot's Reach, and that just sold for I think 2.3 million. And then the one on the lower right is the Trioni residence that Rich Fredrickson did for me, I think back in 2008. That's on Land's End Close off Breaker's Reach.
And I'm going to stop share now. And if you have any other things to share, or if you just want to keep talking, we've got about 15, 18 more minutes.
Okay. Well, we'll go to, let's see. Let me
Start share again.
get to this. I'll show you. This is what we did to the kitchen.
All right, start share one more time because I ended your
Okay.
share.
Okay.
I can do that as host.
Let's see. Oh, there we go. Let me try it again, see if it comes up this time. I still had the other one up. Does that work?
Uh, go to share screen again
Okay. All right.
and start
Let
sharing.
me, let me get down. I didn't know it turned itself off.
Oh, I did that. As host, I have that option. I needed to share my screen, which is why. So now we're
Okay.
back to sharing your screen. Oh, this is a beautiful look at this kitchen. Oh my goodness.
Now, mind you, and I'll show you a before, this entire wall was solid. The
Which
kitchen,
entire wall?
the
Oh, where
wall,
the kitchen is.
yeah,
Oh,
there was a 3 foot wide door on the left hand side, and the rest was walled off from the dining room and that view to Black Point.
oh, now it's so much better being open like
So,
that.
so
In,
what
in
we
my
did is,
opinion, in my opinion.
yeah, thank you. All of these beams were kind of chocolate brown. So we said, oh no, that's not acceptable. So we wrapped all the beams with the same cedar that we used in the entire house, which is a Western red cedar with that same wash. You can see
Beautiful.
the ceiling, the walls, everything in the house, every square inch of this house is wood on the inside walls. So this wood needed to be complemented dramatically. So the contractor and the owner had a cabinet maker that did incredible work in Portola Valley, and he did this with an exotic African hardwood. And you can see he used a horizontal grain pattern, but he book matched it, which means he used the same pieces of wood of the veneer around all of the cabinets so that it just goes around in one continuous ribbon that is all compatible with the next cabinet. And then, of course, we've got the countertops with granite and the pendant lights, and then which are hanging from cables. But now, when you're eating and you're socializing, the kitchen and the just like it is in modern day homes I do everywhere, the kitchen, the dining room, and the living room are all one space. They're all social areas where everyone can mix and nobody gets isolated like the old days in the 60s when Esherick first designed this house.
And the view floods throughout,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
that's to have a home on this beautiful coast, you want to have that opened up so you can see it. And
Really?
that cabinetry was stunning.
Wasn't that amazing?
Yes.
Now, now we'll go to, oh, screen sharing has stopped as the
You
shared window
just
was closed.
you
I'll
just
start it
stopped it.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let me,
And you are listening to KGUA in Walala, 88.3 FM. I'm Leigh Anne Lindsey, your host today, along with Michael Barron-Wike, architect, who's just showing us some incredible homes that he has been working on over the years.
okay,
And this,
now I'm going to show you what I'm working on now. Let's see, hold on. There it is. So we flash forward, and what we come to now is this.
the Hubble House.
Yes, can you see
I've been
it?
in this house. Yes.
Okay, this is the condition of a 1974 William Turnbull design, which I've seen most of his work on the ranch, if not all of it. And this to me is one of his most iconic structures. It was designed originally uh, to be completely heavy timber construction exposed on the interior. As you can see, can you see this image?
Yes, you can. And everybody, you can go to YouTube anytime. If you're just listening on radio right now, you can go to YouTube and just Google KGUA. You'll find this show. And you can see this incredible architecture and structure here.
So what we're looking at right now, for those who don't have the view, the entire building was basically built on with sticks. It was an open, exposed timber structure with 6x6s that were bolted together with sheet metal and bolts, all braced independently of the building itself to stand on its own. And that worked in 1974. But since the earthquakes of the 80s
Yep.
and the 90s,
I knew
this
that was
building
coming.
this building would not survive another
No.
earthquake, especially if it was focused on the ranch. It did survive the one, obviously, that happened, in San Francisco during the World Series. So that,
1989.
yeah, 1989. So if you look here, this gives you a real idea of how open and how
Wow.
exposed and how vulnerable this building is. So the owner,
It looks like it's 3 levels.
well, it feels like it. Those towers are over 28 feet tall. And
Yeah.
yeah, if you put a second level on it, then you've got another 12 feet on top of that. I've never actually measured it. I suspect it might even be taller than the allowed 28 feet for the Sea Ranch, but we'll find out. I've got to submit this still to the design committee.
Yeah.
But what happened, and let me show you this one, this is amazing.
Oh, that
Um,
stairway is impressive.
what happens in this building is it's two towers. It's two and a half story tall towers that are joined from a square, and I'll show you a rendering that I've done with this diagonally placed skylight along the ridge, and then this dramatic staircase that you come around to from the living room's on the right, the kitchen's on the left, and there's a sitting area right where I am with the camera in one of the tall towers. The other tower is at the other end where the staircase ends, where you see windows upstairs. So this building is just so, it has so much vertical space, and typical of Turnbull, very little horizontal space. Everything is so tight. I think it's about 1,600 square foot house. And so there's no room for storage. There's very little room in the bathrooms. So I'm going in and I'm taking the whole building, leaving as much as we can so that it looks like a complete Turnbull house when it's done, and redoing it so that it goes from 1,600 to 2,600 square feet. And so the bedrooms get larger, the bathrooms get altered and moved. The kitchen is going to be completely redone. The staircase will remain intact. The roof will be insulated. The windows will all be double glazed and insulated walls on the outside. The walls are completely uninsulated right now. So this thing is an energy sieve
Right.
for all of the beauty that these guys did. They just, it was what, 25 cents a gallon when they were doing for gasoline, when they were doing these homes. So now, at $5 and $6 a gallon, and switching to all electric, now these homes, it's imperative that they be helped as much as possible to become energy efficient with, and still, the owner said, should I tear this down? And I said, are you kidding? This
No,
is one of the historical iconic structures of that era and of that architect and of this place, the Sea Ranch. Do not
thank
do
you,
that.
Michael. Yes.
You would be throwing away millions of dollars of value, not mentioning the historical value for students, for people that want to
Absolutely.
experience. Yeah.
Yep.
So that one. So let me show you what I've got up my sleeve. So this is an addition that I've done on one side, and then I've punched out this existing living room and added a balcony upstairs at one end of the house.
Wow.
So you can see these towers here. There's one there and there's one behind it. And then let's see.
Now you're using some kind of 3D design program. Which one are you using?
I've been actually involved in this program since 1999, and it's called Chief Architects, CHIEF. I tried to go with Revit when they were on their own, and then AutoCAD bought them, and they wanted so much teaching learning curve for all their different packages that were very expensive that I opted to go to this little company, and I got on their beta team. So I became a crew of a few architects and developers who worked with these guys. And every year they added something that we had come up with or suggested to the program, to the point where now in 2023, I can spin and rotate this design to my heart's content. I can do 3D contours. I can do curved walls and windows, the whole enchilada. So by having, the experience of this program, I can show it to the design committee and to the owners and give them a full sense of what this building will look like when I'm finished with it.
And the reason I ask is because back in the mid 90s to the late 90s, I was working with Autodesk competitor Crystal Graphics, which had a 3D graphics program called Topaz. And this reminds me a lot of Topaz.
Yeah, this is a little watercolor, rendering of it that shows you sort of the existing house. But, well, it shows you some of the existing house, and then we're adding on this whole two-story balcony area with a master bedroom underneath it, this spiral staircase, these new decks, a bathroom that's off of this room, which wasn't the master bedroom, but it is now. And so this has been punched out in 1994 by Turnbull's office. And then I punched this part out for a master bath that would be right en suite to this bathroom. Then you can see the original tower is over here. And then we've added a hot tub and a deck off to the north at this end of the house.
And again, to our radio listeners out there, just go onto YouTube and you just Google for KGUA, and you're going to see this program so that you can see these images. This is pretty impressive, Michael. And so this is still in the planning stage?
Yeah, what you're seeing now is right now we're having MKM Engineering in Santa Rosa, evaluating this ancient structure, almost 50 years old, for
Yeah.
lateral wind and earthquake design stability, so that these additions, which is all of this end here on the north end, and then all of this on the south end, will have its own contemporary earthquake design, but when it attaches to the building, those walls that attach to the building will be upgraded to make sure that they can stand with this building left relatively on its own. In addition to that, we're going to look at the building here as it is and evaluate it and see how we might be able to stiffen it without altering its significant design features for a better earthquake endurance.
That is impressive and a lot of information for people out there that may be thinking of doing something similar to their structure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm wearing two hats here. One is, the practical architect, who's trying to fix, somebody's outdated concepts, and the other is the pay it forward part, where I want to pay homage to these guys. They were my mentors, but
Right.
also I have moved on, and I've moved way on beyond this realm. Other than the aesthetic, as you see, is uniquely their own. So what I design is different from this, but I respect and admire what they've done, and I want to bring forward what I know from living here all these years, designing here all these years, adding as much sustainable energy to these old buildings as I can, and also creating a design where when it's done, you can't tell it's not the original design. So that, to me, is the ultimate goal when you're restoring iconic structures.
That's the voice of Michael Barron-Wike, and you can find him online in several different ways through his website, through House. That's, you said, the best way to reach you right now or to see information about you, Michael?
Is on House and
On
LinkedIn.
House
And
and
LinkedIn has,
LinkedIn.
yeah.
Well, we've still
But
got a few more.
House has the most photographs.
We have a few more minutes still, but I just wanted to let our audience know, that if they've been listening and this sounds appealing to them, they want to see more, they want to find out more. What are some of the ways to get in contact with you?
Well, as I say, that those sites have all ways to get in touch with me, to
All
give
right.
me reviews too. If there's anyone that's seen this and wants to go on those sites to make reviews of this show or their impressions of my work, it's always appreciated in the process. But yeah, I can get right back to you. My cell phone number is the easiest one to use. It's given on all the sites. So here I am.
Well, I really wanted to find out these last few seconds. So this is the house that you're working on currently. Do you have other
Yes,
projects
yes,
underway?
yes. I've got a new one going up
And go ahead and
down
stop
below.
share for right now.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and, yeah, there you go. That way everybody can see you again on YouTube.
Okay, so I've got a new one coming up this spring or summer for the Sea Ranch down below White Barn that John Schmidt will be building, and then I've got a potential one for the first of the year for up on the ridge at Sea Ranch, and let's see, what's the other one I was thinking of? These two, yeah. So those are the three main ones, and then I have, ironically, three projects right up where my house is in Anchor Bay that are all additions to existing homes. One of them is the old schoolhouse that's just north of Fish Rock, that the owners there want to upgrade that and then do a new home out on the ocean. And then their neighbors, just two parcels over, want to upgrade their home and add a studio. And then a home I did at the bottom of Fish Rock for Jim Stockton, the owner there, wants to upgrade the studio that I did for them. So in a combination of new and remodels, I'm keeping busy.
Well, Michael, it's always a pleasure to have you here on the radio
Thanks, Leigh Anne.
show. You're welcome.
I
And
hope it was interesting.
Well, certainly to me, I hope it is to the audience. I grew up in a family of uh, my family built residential and commercial projects. They weren't architects. They always hired the architects. They were developers. So it's always interesting to me. And they actually had seen Sea Ranch back in the 60s. And so my dad had actually incorporated a lot of Sea Ranch design into buildings and commercial projects in Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, and also here in Northern California. So to me, it's always very interesting. And thank you again, Michael. It is Michael Barron-Wike, folks, and you can find him at mbwarchitect.com. You can find him on Houzz, which is HOUZZ.com.
.com.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, again,
Well,
thanks.
thank you, Leigh Anne.
You're
Thanks very much.
welcome. You're
All right,
welcome.
bye-bye.
Bye. And we're going to say goodbye to our YouTube audience now, too, because we're headed over to Native America Calling.